Welcome to Scuderia Ferrari Racing News, our special magazine. Today, here at the Maranello factory, we get you to discover the secrets regarding the creation of a new Formula 1 car by the words of various technicians for the different sides of an impressive job. So, come with us, let's start!
The project of a new engine for the following season is starting very early. By the time that you start, in fact, a new season, you are already thinking at the new engine. The recent rules in terms of sporting and technical rules, in fact, has affected the engine development because the engine is frozen, so components of the engine may not be modified except for cost saving, reliability, or engine installation on a new type of car. The engine installation on a new type of car, in fact, is the main reason why we are developing, since in some way the installation for a new bodywork, a new position of the engine relative to the car, or as it is happening this year for the fact that there is the introduction once again of the KERS. The engine is in fact directly linked, mechanically linked to the KERS, and that has affected in some way the front of the engine, the way we are linking into the KERS, and for all the ancillaries around the KERS itself or the engine itself, as for example for the oil tank. So the oil tank has been completely redesigned, and in fact that has involved quite a lot of people all through the recent months. At the right moment, while we are assembling the new car, we are very involved in assembling new engines for what will be the next test on the bench, but especially for what will be the winter testing season with the car and preparation of the first race. That is very busy as well, considering the fact that we have customer teams as Sauber and Toro Rosso, and in fact all the activity of the engine installation on the car is very similar for them, and the preparation of the engine itself.
Hi, my name is Marco De Luca. I'm the head of aero of Ferrari Gestione Sportiva. This is a large group of which I'm responsible. The units responding to me or reporting to me are obviously the development team, the professional designer, the large plant for the production, an internal R&D department, electronic and system, and last but not least, a group to look after the plant and maintenance in general. To generate a new car, so basically the car that would race the year after, normally we start thinking about it before the current car has to race. It's a long process. This process normally starts with an internal brainstorming to understand which is the more interesting layout for the next year car. Gradually, during the year, we divert the resources from the racing car or the current year to the new car. And this is a process that is dictated by the priority and by and how the season is evolving for the current year car. More technically speaking, to support the generation of a new racing car, the brainstorming is heavily supported by CFD process, and this process is immediately aligned the wind tunnel testing. In the wind tunnel, we are, especially in this phase, in the wind tunnel we are quite brave to modify quite quickly the layout of the car, so to understand which is the best direction, while the CFD will make us understand a bit better the flow features around the different scenarios that we would like to investigate further. After many years in this role with my collaboration, still the expectation to understand how the car will behave in comparison with the competition is obviously quite high. So the winter time is quite an emotional moment, and we are not anxious, but there is a lot of interest when we put the wheels on the ground to understand if our ideas have generated a very good car, and this is the final aim of our work.
My name is Tiziano Battistini. I'm head of the design office. I have been in Ferrari since the early 90s. It's been a very interesting, very good period, and I had been the opportunity to start as a designer, and now I'm in charge of a group of people that has got as his target the designing of the complete car, a part of the engine. I mean, all the other part of the car has been designed here and in R&D, in the R&D area. We start to work on the New Year's car after we have finished the design and the assembly of the car of the current year. This means that in March, at the end of March, beginning of April, we begin to design and to scheme the layout of the car of the next year, following the indication of the chief designer and following the indication arriving from the aerodynamic department, that is the first department that is starting on the new year car. Usually we start with general schemes in which we try to meet, as I said, the requirements in terms of car dimension, in terms of weight distribution, in terms of new rules that FIA are giving to us. And this is a process that is taking around 3 months between, as I said, March, April and June. Around June we have already developed some good layouts that are already quite well defined, and there have been in this period several iterations and a lot of discussion with the other departments. This means that after that the general scheme has been done, we can try to define better what are the long lead time parts, like the chassis and the gearbox, because we have to go in production with these parts around the middle of the summer. To define all these main items, it means that in the meantime we have to follow and to study all the other system of the car. I'm talking about suspension, wheel groups, fuel system, cooling system, and all these parts have to be in production, have to be finalized, again 3D models and 2D drawings in the period, have to be ready in the period of September and October. In the last 2 months of the year, we are very busy in the design of the bodywork of the car. Usually this is the last part of the car that has been designed, mainly because we leave to the wind tunnel group most of the time, so that they are able to give a bodywork that has the maximum performance of the car. So before the end of the season of the year, basically we have finished all the design of the car, so that we can receive all the parts in the beginning and start in the beginning of the January the next year, and start to build the car in the first weeks.
My name is Corrado Lanzone. I'm head of the production department, which means we have 2 plants, one for composite production and the second one for mechanical production. We produce the main components of the Formula 1 car, and so we have several technologies and several skills in our people, covering from composite production, carbon fiber, to mechanical production, machining, grinding, and so on. So we have some very important facilities because our technology is very high and we need to produce all these components in a very short time. The fabrication, the production of the new car starts around the end of August, beginning of September of every year. And so also this year we started receiving the first information from the drawing office around the end of August, when the Formula 1 season was still in progress. So we had to balance the efforts between the production of the new car and the production of the components that were needed for the development of the car for the championship. So we started receiving the first information for the longest lead time item that we have, which is the carbon composite monocoque, the chassis, which takes roughly 4 months, 5 months of lead time to produce the first one. It's a very complex component, so we start producing the molds, the patterns, the molds and the jigs, and then after receiving all the information from the drawing office, we have the plies, the shapes, the final shapes of the part, and so we go on with the fabrication cycle in order to complete the overall part. It's a very long and complex component, so we have very high-skilled people that use to produce these components. They have several years of experience in order to have this production cycle as little, as short as possible, and to respect the highest quality that we need to have a very reliable component. On the mechanical part, the longest lead time item is the gearbox. Gearbox is a component made in metal and in composite, and also in this case we received the first information around 1st of September, first 10th of September, and then we start developing the production cycle, the choices of the tools, of the jigs, of the machines, of the people that will work on this issue, on this item. And so we start the production activity. Then several other parts will arrive, they arrive from the drawing office, the uprights, hubs, bodywork parts, suspension arms, and so all the components of the new car takes shapes, they become real from the information, from the drawing, from the CAD, the 3D information to the physical part made in metal or in composite material.
Hi, I'm Diego Ioverno. I'm in charge of assembly depth in Gestione Sportiva, and I'm in charge of race operation. Here we are in one of the depth of my competence. We are in Montaggio Vetture, where normally the cars are assembled to be ready for the track event, test or racing, or for the test rigs events. In this department, normally we put together all the groups that we receive from the other department of the company. At the end, we can manage to fit together the car, chassis, engine and gearbox. This is happening obviously for all the cars during the year, but is even more particular and more important for the first car of the year. Since 1 month more or less here we are working on the new chassis, we are pre-fitting it and we are adding all the other parts of the car, engine, gearbox, suspension. We are doing all the checks and going through all the test rig program to homologate the car and ended up with the shakedown in the track of Fiorano. Clearly also when you assemble the new car there are things that are in common with the rest of the operation in the cars during the year. But new car is special. The new car is much more stressful, is much more interesting for everyone. There is a lot of curiosity, a lot of attention, because we know that we are putting together the first part of what we think we hope will be the new dream of the year.
Coming soon, Scuderia Ferrari Racing News with a new Formula 1 car for 2011 season called, no, be patient, a bit more. See you soon.